Hello, my beautiful mommies. I am excited to be joining you again today. And again, my channel is more about ways and ideas where moms can help support themselves. This isn't a channel about how to do things with your baby. I feel like there's so many great videos out there already. My channel is really focused on, okay, great, we're taking care of our baby. Now, how can we take care of ourselves? And one of the messages that I stand behind and I just own with my heart is I want every mom to feel powered and activated. And I want every mom to find ways to get themselves to a better place if they're struggling. And I want every mom to feel supported and connected and find their village sooner. And so I've been talking a lot about Where's My Village. Again, quick recap. If you want to hear my full story, you can watch. I think it's called the New Mommy Village story. It's one of the first ones I did. So you can check that out if you want to hear the full story. But just real quick, I had previously been in the business world and I had a career in marketing, specifically in tech. And so I had really honed in on my masculine energy side. And I'll be talking more about this, the masculine energy versus feminine energy. And I was really good at being productive. I was really good at getting things done. I was really good at knocking out my projects and hitting milestones, and coming up with creative. But coming from the business world to motherhood was an adjustment. In the business world, you can have a project, but then eventually the project's completed, right? And you have this win and you're with your team and you're excited and we did it. And then the next project begins and you move on from that project. I found in my experience with motherhood that the project never stops. It's just over and over and over, and you repeat. And coming from the business world into motherhood, it's different because a lot of times you're up in the middle of the night. You're not always getting rest. You're physically pouring in energy, your energy into your baby. And this is completely different than the business world. It's funny, I ran into a girl that I went to graduate school with, and I need to do a video on this as well. And we were laughing when we were both pregnant because they don't teach you this in business school. They don't teach you how to be prepared to have a baby and go into the mother world. I'm not saying it should, but it's just funny on how much you can learn in school and education, but it's completely separate than things that are going to be helpful for you and to learn and to know and to embody and new habits to create when you shift from the business world into motherhood. So I'm sure I'll do a video on that because seriously, they don't teach you this in business school. So on the topic of Where's My Village, I want to dive into the topic on sometimes we need support and sometimes we need connections, and there's a difference. And I want to go into that and how I define support. I've talked about support systems versus the village. Support systems give you support, while the village is more of connections with other moms and things like that. And this is how I define it. So this is definitely my personal language and how I help to get myself to a better place in motherhood. So sometimes we need support, sometimes we need connection, and there's a difference. So when I needed support, what does that look like? So support is where you're able to find help, maybe for someone to be with the baby or to watch the baby, so you can get short needed breaks to do whatever it is that you need to do to help fill your cup for that day. And a lot of times it'll be different on different days of what you need. So maybe one day the thing that you need to do the most is take a nap. Or maybe it's movement, or maybe it's to clean the house because you haven't gotten to cleaning the house in a couple of days for whatever reason. So that's what support looks like. It could be a service, or it could be, someone in your inner circle to help watch the baby so you can get those short needed breaks to fill your cup. Okay, so that's support. Now let's talk about connections. Connections are when you don't necessarily need time away from your baby, but you are seeking and desiring connections, other people who you can share and confide in with what's going on and they understand. Usually these are other fellow moms, and a connection is very different in my mind than support. Connection is more of the emotional exchange, more of the energy exchange, where support is more of you getting those short breaks. And so, what might a connection look like? A connection might be you seeking out a mommy and baby class and being in a room with other fellow moms, just being in their presence, getting to share your story, getting to share things that you're going through that maybe your partner's not always fully going to understand. And you can get that empathy, that understand, that deep level understanding and connection of where you're at and the phase of life you're going through right now, and maybe even find tips on how to do things better and what are other moms doing. Not to judge yourself, because at the end of the day, I want to encourage you, and this took me a little while. Trust your inner mom intuition. You know yourself, you know your baby best. I know in the first year, a lot of times, we can question ourselves. I know I question myself a lot. Am I doing the right thing? You know, should I be doing something differently? And yes, it's good to share your story, but do it in a way where you're not judging and you're just gathering information so you can pick and choose what might work best for your situation. Maybe you're a mom where you're getting support, but you're not getting the connection, right? Maybe you do have access to hiring a babysitter maybe 3 days a week, or maybe you don't have access to that right now and you can invite a friend over to get that support. Maybe you are getting support, but you aren't getting the connection. I want to make sure we talk about the distinction between the two, because someone can say, oh, wow, well, you have all this support. Yes, but if you don't have connections with people who are going through what you're going through, that can also be a big piece of just your overall mental health. Or let's say that maybe you have lots of connections. Lots of moms and you're able to meet up with other moms and connect, but you're not able to get support to get those much needed short breaks throughout your week. And so you need to seek those out. So, how can we have a fully supported, fully connected motherhood experience along the way? And sometimes maybe there'll be a month where it's not as much. Maybe for whatever reason, you aren't needing the connection as much, or maybe you aren't needing the short breaks. But I did want to talk about, when we talk about the new modern village and what that looks like today, because for many of us, we are no longer having that traditional village support that maybe our mothers had. And so, how can we take a deep dive as women and fully understand what our needs are? Are they support needs or are they connection needs? And then, once we identify what those needs are, we own our own needs and we seek out ways to help get ourselves to a better place. So, I hope this was helpful for you, especially if you're wondering, where's my village? Maybe you haven't connected with moms recently, or maybe you have connected with moms, but you haven't found good, solid ways to get those short needed breaks. I hope this is helpful for you, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.